Business to tap into affordable loans as the President launches micro-enterprise project. The head of state elaborates on initiatives to improve livelihoods at the IFLOT one-stop shop, and he gets a first-hand ride on the MV Sabanto. These and other stories in this week's edition of The Diary, the Government Information Agency program that provides a recap of the highlights of the country's president for the week October 12 to 18. Fabian Krause, your host, now for the details. Another one-stop shop exercise was held, this time at IFLOT, and aspiring homeowners made full use of the opportunity provided. The president was there and elaborated on the opportunities the government is providing to improve the quality of life for Guyanese. The one-stop shop exercise held at the IFLOT Community Center ground facilitated applications for house lots at the Zealot housing scheme. Over 800 lots were up for distribution. Like several other one-stop shops, aspiring homeowners responded promptly to the invitation and were given guidance about applying for loans and other services relevant to owning a house. The head of state was among those who witnessed the exercise and explained to the applicants the general aim of the aggressive housing program.
When you finally get your own home and you get your roof over your head, you have that secured feeling that no one can put you out, that you were the boss in this area. You were the king in your own house.
The housing program, spearheaded by the Ministry of Housing and Water, has made possible tens of thousands of new house lots developed across the country. Since 2008, an additional 28,474 house lots have been distributed, 236 core houses and 80 turnkey houses constructed. More importantly, the environment has been created that makes it affordable for anyone to own a home.
I'm sure you're aware of many of the facilities that we have put in place, including concessional interest rates from the bank for low-income and middle-income people, that they can borrow money and not at the commercial rates to build their homes, but at concessionary rates, because the government will not be taking taxes from the interest earned to the bank of money lent to you. And for that reason, the bank can give you a lower interest rate.
As the president explained, the housing program is just one aspect of the task towards development. Investing in health, education, and job creation are equally important.
We believe that if our country is to develop and advance further, that it is you, the people, who will be called upon to do the work to make us a stronger and better nation. And that is why we have been investing heavily in things like education, health, and more importantly, having the security of your own home. And we believe when you have that security of your own home, that you have greater peace of mind and you can produce more, you can work more to develop yourself and to develop your country.
The residents were told about plans next year to resurface the West Demerara thoroughfare, an intervention that the residents are long awaiting. Micro and Small Enterprise MSE Development and Building Alternative Livelihood for Vulnerable Groups project was launched on October 14, offering loans that require interest rates below 6% and a grant as high as $300,000 to assist startups for existing business expansion. The Micro and Small Enterprise Project is a collaborative effort of the government through the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce and the Inter-American Development Bank. The areas targeted cut across 11 sectors, with the majority conforming to priorities under Guyana's revolutionary low-carbon development strategy. President Ramotar, who attended the launch, said the initiative was important to both small business enterprise development and aspects of Guyana's economy where small entrepreneurs have made significant contributions.
They make a huge contribution to employment. I've seen some figures in different countries about the kind of contribution they make towards employment. In the United Kingdom, more than 2 million people are employed by the small business sector. They provide, of course, very important services to the community and to the country as a whole.
Loans can be accessed at the Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, GBTI, Republic Bank, and the Institute for Private Enterprise Development, IPED, through an interest subsidy and support for a portion of the collateral required. President Ramatar is hopeful that the interior regions benefit the most, given the specific needs within these areas to grow economically.
I think too that with time we also help in those community people to diversify their production and to produce other crops that are not so perishable and where they can keep them for longer periods of time and to sell high value crops. I was in Karasabai a few weeks ago and met a farmer who was producing black pepper in that area. His problem is, of course, access to markets and infrastructure for him to get there.
Business and technical training provided through established training institutions will be one of the main components of the MSE initiative. The focus areas will include a full range of business and finance market skills and technical training in various fields. The government has long recognized the pivotal role small and medium-sized enterprises play in grassroots economic opportunities, supporting income-generating ventures, improving livelihoods, enhancing productivity, and stimulating competitiveness.
So now to have a more affordable financing to help to deal with many good ideas and good business plans that can help us to broaden the productive base of our economy, help to create jobs in our society, help young people who have ideas and who don't want necessarily to have to answer to any boss, and if they feel that they can open their own business, that they can have a possibility to do so.
It is on this basis that government has added impetus to this sector through several initiatives, including easier access to credit, business advisory and marketing services, systems, and training. You are watching The Diary. More still ahead.
With the Amila Falls Hydropower project, all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. In fact, reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20% in 2017 and considerably more in the years ahead. This project will save residential, commercial, and industrial entities approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. At present, it costs about 25 cents per kilowatt hour to generate electricity using heavy fuel oil and about 30 to 35 cents per kilowatt hour using diesel. With Amila, Guyana will save a dramatic 20 to 25% on its fuel importation bill, or about $90 million. Investors' confidence in Guyana will increase, and the manufacturing and services sector will be significantly boosted. In the climate change arena, Guyana has already taken on a leadership role with its low-carbon development strategy, and with this Amila project, the country could also become a leader globally for renewable power. This project will add 6 percentage points to real GDP growth during the construction phase alone. The total public debt to Guyana for this project is zero. Cheap energy is vital to the industrialization of Guyana. Thousands of jobs would be created due to industrialization. After 20 years, the hydropower facility will be 100% owned by Guyanese, and it is expected to last 100 years.
Millions of taxpayers' dollars have already been spent on the Amila Falls Hydropower project, which is now in its final stages of achieving financial closure. However, the APNU and the AFC teamed up in Parliament to kill the project without any valid reason, and in so doing taking cheap electricity out of the reach of Guyanese. Frustrating a project of this magnitude at this stage is tantamount to strangling the country's development and putting at stake the future. Guyana needs the Amalia Falls hydropower project because all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. Consumers will save approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. Ghana will save $90 million on fuel importation, and investors' confidence in Guyana will increase. More jobs will be available. All Guyanese need to come on board now. Reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20%.
Venezuela and Guyana reached a cordial deal to work towards settling the maritime boundary discrepancy in wake of the Venezuelan Navy detaining a seismic research vessel recently. President Ramotar was counting on both sides to resolve the issue in such an amicable manner. The highly anticipated meeting between Guyana's Foreign Affairs Minister Carolyn Rodriguez Burquette and her Venezuelan counterpart Elias Juan ended peacefully, following a claim by the Venezuelans that a seismic research ship was guilty of trespassing. The two sides agreed that they would work towards commencing negotiations for the determination of the two countries' maritime boundary. The Venezuelan Navy had detained the seismic research ship, claiming that it violated Venezuela's exclusive economic zone. The vessel was ordered to shut off its survey equipment and proceed to the island Margarita. The action drew a protest from the Guyana government, but given its historic cordial relations with the Venezuelan government, President Ramotar, when asked for a comment, said he was counting on an amicable resolution.
Very soon, during this week, we will meet, and we're looking towards working for a peaceful solution to this.
During the meeting between the two foreign affairs ministers held in Trinidad and Tobago, an agreement was reached to explore mechanisms within the context of international law to address the issue of maritime delimitation. The two sides agreed that a technical team would meet within 4 months to exchange views on how such delimitation could proceed. During the recent state visit by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in August, a joint declaration was signed for the reappointment of Professor Nerman Girvan to the United Nations Good Office process. The Good Office process was adopted to pursue a peaceful and practical settlement to territorial issues in accordance with the Geneva Agreement of 1966. The transformation that has taken place on the Essequibo coast over the past 21 years was among the highlights of the President's address to a large audience at the Anna Regina Tarmac on October 12. Essequibo, the Cinderella County, has been transformed from rags to riches, the head of state told a large gathering on Saturday, October 12. But the changes in physical infrastructure and various other sectors are just a fraction of the work needed in promoting Guyana's development, President Ramotar said.
We have reached a stage now in our country where we have to go forward to build our country.
Investments in the region's physical infrastructure today stands at $528.2 million. The targets have been rehabilitation and expansion of major highways, upgrade of almost 90% of internal community roads, and upgrade of farm-to-market roads from mud dams to fair-weather roads. President Ramotar turned his attention to the social sector, and Essequibo again stood out, particularly where education is concerned. The country's top CSEC performers hailed from that area. Zamina Rashid from the Anna Regina Multilateral on the Essequibo Coast, Region 2, is Guyana's CXC top student with 18 grade 1s and 2 grade 2s. She was followed by Yogita Prasad, also of the Anna Regina Secondary School, who copped second place.
This year, those two girls will make Guyana number 1 and 2 in the Caribbean for the best passes in the region. And we can go further. But we have succeeded because we have now a new quality of people. Our children are now more educated than we are, and they now have the ability to do things better. And the world that we live in today demands this. If you look around at the world where you have developed countries and poor countries, and you will see that those countries that have developed the most, it's not necessarily the countries with the most minerals and the most natural resources. Those things help and they are important, but it is the countries where you have the highest standard of education that has developed the most in our world.
During the period 1992 to 2012, all schools in Region 2 were rehabilitated, while new facilities were constructed. Among them, the establishment of the Ghana School of Agriculture and the Essequibo Technical Institute. The President elaborated on other pioneering initiatives to improve the quality and delivery of education, for which Region 2 and the rest of the country stands to benefit.
I had a discussion only recently with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, and we are working to put university education online. That is why it is important. That is why it is important that our one laptop per family becomes even more important, because you can stay in your homes. You will be able in the future, and I hope in the near future, to stay in your homes, not only children and young people, but housewives can stay at home and have a tertiary education.
The government is making the investments with the overall goal of transforming Guyana into a developed state. Still ahead, the President takes first journey on MV Sabanto.
Ghana needs the Amalia Falls hydropower project because all consumers will benefit from cheap and reliable electricity. Consumers will save approximately $3.5 billion over a period of 20 years. Ghana will save $90 million on fuel importation, and investors' confidence in Guyana will increase. More jobs will be available. All Guyanese need to come on board now. Reduction in consumer tariffs will be at least 20%. Millions of taxpayers' dollars have already been spent on the Amalia Falls hydropower project, which is now in its final stages of achieving financial closure. However, the APNU and AFC teamed up in Parliament to kill the project without any valid reason, and in so doing taking cheap electricity out of the reach of Guyanese. Frustrating a project of this magnitude at this stage is tantamount to strangling the country's development and putting at stake the future.
Upon his return from Essequibo, the head of state boarded the MV Sabanto, one of two roll-on roll-off ferries donated to Guyana by the Chinese government 2 years ago. The ferries arrived specifically to boost the capacity of marine travel, particularly in areas where complaints had been numerous about transportation delays. While on board, the head of state met and interacted with travelers.
Passengers are very well entertained. Those who want to be entertained with 3 television sets, very comfortable seats. So I think it's really a big improvement from what things were in the past.
In the company of Prime Minister Samuel Hines and other officials, the President toured the various sections of the ferry. For him, the ride was indeed comfortable.
I myself enjoyed it, traveling on the river. The first time I'm on the vessel myself as a passenger, and it was very good. A lot of people who preferred this type of comfort. I mean, it's a little bit slower than the speedboats, but it's much more comfortable and probably much safer.
Negotiations for the new ferries had been ongoing for a long while and had involved modifications and ease of congestion on the Supernam Stelling. Well, that's all in this week's edition of the Diary for the period October 12 to 18. The highlights before we go: small business to tap into affordable loans as the President launches MSE project. The head of state elaborates on initiatives to improve livelihoods at the iFlot one-stop shop, and he gets a first-hand ride on the MV Sabanto. Do join us again next week when we bring you more. I am your host, Fabian Klaus. Thanks for joining us. Have a safe and pleasant rest of the week.